The lady there.
Hi, my name is Maria Rodas. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I went to Saudi school. I have Saudi friends. I used to be very, very proud of Saudi Arabia. I used to defend it anytime anybody accused it of, being backward or having human rights abuses. Like Dr. Al-Yamani, I used to consider myself a daughter of Saudi Arabia. Used to. I just want to bring up a point that everyone will agree the important role the expat workers in Saudi Arabia have played in building Saudi. Starting from the Indian and Pakistani construction workers, I'm just giving examples, to the Filipino housemaids, to the white-collar Egyptian, British, American people that are employees in companies. Unfortunately, abuses of those people go unreported, and I want to stress that no discussion is complete without including those equally important sons and daughters of Saudi Arabia.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I know that I should not, as chairman, express my opinion, but because I am of Asian origin, and I have written to the Saudi authorities about this particular issue. I visited Saudi Arabia twice this year, and I saw the abuse of Bangladeshi workers. So the gentleman at the back.
My name's Imran Kunjwani. I'm a PhD student at King's College.
Can you speak up just?
Yeah, my name's Imran Kunjwani. I'm a PhD research student at King's College. I have a question for the three male speakers. I think Robert, the speaker, mentioned that Article 5, that Saudi Arabia is there to protect or defend human rights in accordance with the Sharia. Apart from the two female speakers that have demonstrated some understanding of Sharia, my question to the three is, could you please define Sharia, because you have to have an understanding what usul al-fiqh is, methodology of jurisprudence, and how there is no issue or space for pluralism, women's rights in there, and if you accord change with Saudi Arabia, my question to you is, there has to be change in the methodology of fiqh and Sharia before you can say there has to be change in Saudi Arabia. So far, you have not demonstrated knowledge of that, so I don't think you can accord change to Saudi Arabia.
This lady, and then I will ask my speakers.
My name is Sami. I'm a freelance writer. I hope to share so I've come with some understanding over a number of 40 years.
Can't hear you very well. No.
I think the statistics that are being bandied about come from particular perspectives, different perspectives, but they're not universal. That's one point. Therefore, we have to be very cautious how we apply them and who's using it for what purpose. There's academic value attached to it, the individual's own values attached to it. So let's be careful how we apply those. So, respect to all of the statistics, but I'm a bit more cautious than other people. Secondly, we've talked about human rights in Saudi Arabia. We've talked about the people who go there to work, and we've had several documentaries on television. We know exactly what's going on. Yeah. We're not ignorant about it outside of Saudi Arabia. We know what's going on. But what I'd like to do, instead of having academic arguments or writing books, I'd like to engage civil societies with Saudi Arabia. A lot of people wonder how would these speakers advise us to get involved and change and empower. And that is much more important. I also work with UNESCO. How can we do that? I know UNESCO is useless.
Thank you. Okay. Sharia, fiqh, you understand the concept of Sharia and fiqh? And these are three gentlemen, you've got the question. You don't need to stand up, they'll just give you an answer.
Well, sir, I'm sure I don't understand it as well as you do. I can only say that it's been, this is my refrain, it has been a policy of King Abdullah to invest millions of riyals in trying to change the legal system, which has all the problems which Madawi has spoken about. These capricious old judges who, I would agree, do not measure up in any way to our sort of legal system. It's going to take a long time. It's not perfect. That's all I can say. They're trying to change it. I'm talking about, the will, the impetus. On the question of girls' education, are you aware, sir, the gentleman who spoke down there on the table, that there are currently more girls graduating from Saudi universities than boys. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, what I am also aware of is the careers that they're allowed to follow at the present time.
Well, those are limited. Again, they are trying to expand it.
Okay.
And just one last point about the lady over there, about the abuse of, and your point too, about the abuse of immigrant workers. It is a scandal. But all I can say is to repeat what I said earlier, and I would suggest if you go to the websites of the Saudi Gazette or the Arab News, which are www, they're English, and you will see regularly now articles by investigative journalists pointing out what is wrong. There's a long way to go, but people are on the way.
But Robert, one thing for sure, you will agree with me, and as a Muslim and like the young man over there, the Prophet's saying that no white man is better than an Arab and no Arab is better than a white man.
Yes.
In Saudi Arabia, unfortunately, a white man gets treated better than the workers from Asia. And I know that I've seen it and I've experienced it. Sister over here and anybody else. Yes.
Okay, my name is Maram Kawi. I have a PhD in computer science and I'm a weekly writer in a Saudi newspaper, Al-Watan. Today I've heard a lot about my country. Somebody kind of described it as heaven and the other two people described it as hell. And I tell you, it's neither. It's not as, glamorous and it's not as bad as to the next
big lie.
Please. I mean, I'm a writer and I write weekly articles and all the things you've mentioned here regarding human rights and women and all these things I write about. And I've seen a change in the last 5 years at least. Yes, there are some red lines and some things get changed, but also a lot of the things I write get published. The other thing is, when I hear people that asking for the West to kind of interfere into making Saudi Arabia better in a way, I think that they really don't understand the Saudi society. Even the people who are maybe 100% against the government would not want anybody to interfere with their country. Even, I mean, I don't want, let's talk about driving a car. I want it to come from the Saudi people. I want it to be a change from inside, because then it will, it will last. If it comes something just forced by the West, then people will just hate it. Because nobody wants anybody to influence and, kind of force their own values. So this, I want to ask the two academics, what do you want? Do you want the West to kind of interfere in the way they interfered in Iraq? Do they want them to, put the pressure? And, what do you see the way out of this? Do you want it to come from the people? And this is why I respect the people who are inside the kingdom, because yes, they may be under pressure, but they still, they're within their country, within their own community, and not from outside. The last question is just to Dr. Madawi Rashid. It's somehow when I read her articles, I feel it's, with all respect, I feel it's something more than just, being fair and being an academic. It's something about, her being from a family that was defeated by the, by the Saudi family. So I just have this question: is it more of a tribal thing? I'm not from, any. I'm not.
Okay. Thank you. But I'm going to get 3 questions and then I'm going to wind up, because we can carry on this exciting sir here and then the gentleman over there. Yes.
This is by no means it's a view of the Society of Speech which I'm a member. This is my personal view. I found it incredible that the 3 male guests are Western, and I really don't want to go down the route of East and West, but I think it's been forced on us here. Taking a position of defending a kingdom which is famous for its, the way that it treats minorities and it treats minorities in terms of is being already mentioned by colleagues. From my background as a trade unionist, I found it very difficult to support the views that have been intimated here by the 3 colleagues in the panel. But I found myself in total support with the female members of the panel, simply on the ground that they have human rights. My question is, and I think any member of the panel, that don't you see that the education, and I hear that the education is second to none in the Middle East, plays an important role in changes that we seek, changes that adopts the democracy that is suited to the culture, rather than being enforced from the outside.
Thank you.